Welcome everyone, it's Vapors of Drakomar. It's time for some more Raid Shadow Legends. Last time we did some crazy stuff. I'm still trying to fix some stuff. Magic Keep is cycled around again this whole time. So, a lot of big questions. One of the biggest questions is, Deacon or Dark Elhain or Gala or Templar? Those are all really big questions that I have to ask myself. We've got a base food, but we don't really have the fours that I want for it. We will want that frozen banshee. To help her out. We will eventually be upgrading her. So much food prep is needed, though. So much food prep. And you really won't get how much food prep until it really sinks in. I don't know, I'm just in a mood. I'm in a weird mood. We don't really need these right now. I don't need a dupe of him. I do not need a dupe of him. We already have him somewhere in here. And I haven't. Because I get this army of freaking... Because one of the higher echelons needs to rise up. One of the upper echelons. That's the truth of the matter. Now, we can pull this shard and see what happens, but I'm not praying for anything insane. Well, the curse of the dupes is back. That's for sure. If you ever thought that the dupe syndrome was going away, it's not going away. It's only getting worse. So anyway, in terms of what we're going to do with this guy, we've got to upgrade his artifacts. This will be the first one. But it won't be the only one either. We will be doing more during the artifact enhancement event. Yeah, we're going to save our silver for that. Because that's when I get all of his pieces to 16. Yup. Because that's not easy to do. I need to point that out. I really need to point that one out. Anyway. In terms of Great Hall, our accuracy on here is garbage. This is part of why some of my suckers are struggling to land their stuff. 23 hours, I can buy that. First I'm going to see what Deacon's role in Spider. Like, can he do some of his job currently in Spider? That's what we're going to find out. Because what his job is, as you might have guessed, is to decrease the turn meter of the spider. And then to take off the... And then decrease the spiderling. And then get them all to come after him. The problem with rank 6ing him right now is he's not really booked. His biggest asset is unfortunately not yet on a low enough cooldown is the real issue here. That's the real issue. Now, he is something of a spiderling magnet. So that should be noted. So maybe he can't do his job in his current state. See, I think Deacon's real problem is the fact that he isn't well booked. Now, if you thought that was the end of the whole debacle, you're wrong. Because there's plenty more to why I was doing all this. The main problem is he can't cycle through these abilities fast enough. That's his main problem. It's not that he isn't useful here. Is that I don't know if it's worth worth rank 6ing him yet until the cooldown of his time compression is low enough that it completely controls the turn meter of the spider. That is the big issue here. Now let's compare him with Haikatoon directly. Because Haikatoon is the next best thing I can compare him to. That's the next best thing I can compare him to. Because, see, the thing is, I have to rank 6. The next one has to be a very influential pick. The problem is, there isn't really that many picks more influential than Deacon Armstrong. That's the truth of the matter. There's actually not many picks more influential than him. And that's really the problem here. That's why I'm so like picks that are like a really big deal. Because unfortunately, I don't think I'll be rank 6ing him straight away because I want him booked. I want his rank 6 to have maximum effort. Maximum impact, excuse me. Yes, impact. So that's what I'm thinking. I want it to have maximum impact. Because right now, his time compression is not a low enough CD to really do what he's supposed to do. Six-starring him would be nice, but I can't make full use of it right now. That's the truth. I can't make full use of that. Now, the thing that's ironic about Dark Elhain, although she doesn't solve my spider issue, she does something else for me. She acts as the actual nuker of the team. So that's part of the critical conundrum. That's the problem. The problem is I only have 3 books to gamble. So maybe now's not the time. to do that. So that's the conundrum here, is that his biggest problem is that the skill isn't booked. Because his job, as you might have guessed, is the deprived turn meter. That's what his job is. His biggest weakness is not that he's rank 5, although that is a weakness. His biggest problem should I just rank 6 a spirit host and try that? Because somebody has to go to rank 6. Somebody. That's the truth. Somebody, one of these somebodies has to get to rank 6. See, that's the bitter thing. See, the problem is I could gamble that, but would it be a good gamble is the question. Would that be a good enough gamble? Or do I leave him 50 and go for Dark Elhain or Gal Long Braids? That's the real truth. That's the solemn truth here. I need to know which one of these is going to be there with that. Now there is more stuff to do with that. Also Templar. Templar is on the table as well. Because Templar alone is really something. See, I don't know why Deacon is the spider tank. He should be not getting hit by the spiderlings if he decreases their turn meter. Damn confused by that. It's probably after his time compression wears off. So, the next question. See, the reason I'm not deciding to develop them is because they have a specific role to play in all of this. Why does it just feel like it went from bad to worse? Why? I mean, I am thinking that maybe putting Dark Elhain as the main sucker is important here. Because maybe Dark Elhain is a far superior nuker to regular Elhain. And that's going to give me the edge. Not what I would have liked. That's bad. That's doubly bad. See, the thing about Deacon and why I value him for content like this is because he's a great, even though getting him booked is his biggest problem, he's a great turn meter manager, if you will. And I definitely need dedicated turn meter management. I definitely need it. So, we're going to want to target her first off. Basically, you're going to want to go for that just so that he has to choose. He or she has to choose. This is bad. Okay, Gooder Zargala isn't actually that well built, or we would be in a world of pain. Because the thing about Zargala, and what makes her difficult to deal with, is the fact that Zargala does a lot of damage and a lot of decreased defense. And that's also why Deacon is such a big deal, because he controls turn meter. That's why. He controls turn meter. But then there's also the problem that I don't have an absolute cannon. In the meantime, let's try to raise some additional food. Because I want to try to maybe take 2 for the price of 1. See, this is the process by which I use to... Because, see, I have some turn meter control with High Katoon, but what is it worth it to invest in Deacon, or should I get Dark Elhain as the nuker? Because that's another issue, is I don't really have that good of a nuker. And regular Elhain doesn't, like, her standard build doesn't hit that hard. Like, Dark Elhain hits hard. Like, really hard. That's the thing. Dark Elhain hits really, really hard if you decide to rank 6 her. So that's why I'm really torn on who to rank 6. Because rank 6ing is a big deal. And then, of course, there's Gala Longbraids. Now, you might ask, what is the big significance of Gala Longbraids? Well, Gala Longbraids has a lot of unique properties that make her an extremely powerful champion. So that's something you guys need to know right up front. She is void affinity for one thing, so she has no affinity weaknesses as a nuker. She hits multiple times on a single turn, which is unbelievably good for Fire Knight and high defensive comps. To make this even more good against defensive comps, she ignores defense. I can't emphasize to you enough how big ignoring defense is in this meta. I can't. And then there's Vizier, who can extend a debuff on a clan boss to Kingdom Come. And can make clan boss, spider, and a lot of other things just cry. Because they can't deal with it. Like, there's a lot of really good champions in this core. And that's what makes this difficult. If we didn't have a lot of good champions already at rank 5, this would not be very difficult. And then, of course, there's the 40s to develop as well. Like Sepulchre Sentinel. Because I'm like, which one with lower books is going to make the biggest impact on the account? Which one? Because I have to make this decision soon. I've been doing this a lot. If you're wondering, like, how much of this, a lot. Now, we're going to try an alternative team after this of we're going to try an alternative team on Spider with High Katoon involved. Now, speed leads in this game are a big deal. If you couldn't already tell by why I'm like definitely considering Deacon. Because turn meter control is a big problem in this game. If you don't have turn meter control, you lose a lot of... How do I word this? You lose a lot of like control of the enemy. That's the thing. You lose control of the main enemy. That's the problem. Like, if you don't get control of your enemy, it's a big issue. There's a reason why decreasing the turn meter here is such a big deal. Is because it stops the spider from doing something stupid. Because you see, why is she also... I have a feeling that all affinity of this type automatically becomes a poison target. I think I'm on to something. Because, like, yeah, her Haikatoon's job, and the reason that I brought her into existence in the first place is turn meter control. That's the truth. Now, there is other ways. Stunning the spiderlings will be good here. See, the main problem is trying to control the main spider. Because controlling the main spider with the turn meter is a big deal. So, does she automatically become the target if she's in front? Is that what it is? Or is it just that affinity? I'd love to know. Because that's the real problem. I don't know if I'm just making them the target of it, whether it'd be better to pull in a better nuker than that. Like, do I start to develop my Royal Guard? Is that how we want to do it? Because that's the big question here. It's not a small question, it's a big question. Is the lead always the spider tank? Like, what do the spiderlings prioritize? This is important because some champions can tank the spiderlings a lot better than others. That's the truth of it. That is the truth of the matter. But there's also an argument for Sepulchre Sentinel as well. Because I need to find answers to this. I need to know... Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an experiment in the next one involving spiderling control. Can I keep it under control with double turn meter control? Is that, and then I have to book him down later? The problem is, I love to say, oh, it's just Deacon being not rank 6. But it's more than that, because Haikatun is having trouble at 60, and she's also being the stun target. I mean, not the stun target, the poison target. So there's more at work here than that. There's more forces at work here. There's more forces at work here. So, what if we put Deacon in here for turn meter control? And then we also put him for turn meter control. And have these two in the back line. Or actually have him be the target. Because that would be highly useful. Does decreasing this guy's turn meter is probably beneficial. Now let's see. Where do the spiderlings go for? Okay, so we're establishing they don't always go for the lead. Okay, I've got an experiment. What if we put this numbskull in there, and he attracts all the attention. And then we eventually take him to rank 5. Does this work? So maybe this is the answer. How do I get the spiderlings to prioritize? It's a problem. It's a real problem. So I'm going to try something nasty. So I'm going to try a semi damage burn team maybe. I'm going to try this. Because the problem is I need to know who to do for it. I don't think I have the books to really make him, because I need to make a 6-star that impacts this account hard. Like hard impacts this account. That's the deal. I need to make someone that we're going to look back at and say, yes, that was the biggest influential thing right out of the gate. Because I do firmly believe that because I don't have the books to cycle around the abilities, that maybe Dark Elhain would be the best choice. Because Dark Elhain might be the biggest impact besides maybe Gal Longbraids. Gal Longbraids or Dark Elhain. Dark Elhain has this AoE explosion of damage that's useful in a lot of content. The problem is there's also Vizier. And if you remember what Vizier does, that's a problem in itself. Because then I'm ignoring Vizier. And Vizier could be game changing in terms of what I can do to this account. That's the real issue here. I highly encourage the Spiderlings to fight Drexthar. I want them to fight Drexthar. Because the more they fight Drexthar, the better. That's the truth of it. I am intensely curious of what happens when I put Dark Elhain here and have her, like, screw up the spider. Because she would nuke all of these spiderlings right out of existence. But then she, in turn, especially on other affinities of spider, would take damage. And then there's Sepulchre Sentinel. Now, you might ask, why do I even mention this champion? Well, for one thing, Sepulchre Sentinel is godlike in Clan Boss. And for another thing, she wouldn't be getting hit by the debuffs if she had Sepulchre. Because she puts block debuffs for 2 turns on everyone. So that's something to think about right there. Another question is, we also have to ask ourselves, why isn't Syl landing the stuns more often on the Spiderlings? Because I have heard through the grapevine that Drexthar and Syl can solo this boss, or duo this boss, excuse me. Or at least duo Spider in Doom Tower, which I assume is a similar feat. One good thing about this setup here is we're almost guaranteed to win regardless of how badly this turns out, because of because of the Drexthar Syl combo. Although I really wish they would just go for the Drexthar. Because that would be just peachy. There's one thing I like about Drexthar above every other champion in here. He almost always guarantees a burn. So, Since HP burn is one of the most powerful debuffs in the entire game, I want to encourage you to take another look at Drexthar. To really think about why I really went as far as I did for these tokens. There's a reason. I like how I provoke all the spiderlings, or try to, and the boss is just like, nope, I'm going for ninja. I'm going to murder ninja. Oh, attack him if you like. You're gonna get burned now. Oh, you're gonna take burn damage now. If you thought you were gonna take burn damage before, you're going to take burn damage now. Unfortunately, I don't think he's upgraded enough to fully tank the thing of the spider. So this team comp was not a success. All right. But this makes me seriously think maybe Dark Elhain is the better choice because it'll help consistently kill the spiderlings. And see, he doesn't have the books. But I can't... See, I don't know if that's the best idea, because then it also leaves Vizier behind. That's the problem. And I need more force affinity. But then, of course, Vizier has that debuff spread. See, it's hard to know what's going wrong with this picture, because something is definitely not right with the spider picture. The reason I'm going for the 2 nukers strategy is I don't think, at least this is what we have for nukers. This is why I'm thinking Dark Elhain, because Dark Elhain is probably one of the best nukers in the game. So if we put her here, she might be able to do the DPS to speed up this fight. And to avoid... And her area of effect is so nasty that it would keep the spiderlings in check. Because that's the real issue here. The real issue is that we don't have a dedicated nuker. And a dedicated block debuffs. So... And I don't rate her as a spider tank. Case in point. Now, I am considering upgrading Gnarlhorn. Gonna lash these just so that they can all go for him. But yeah, I have to consider... See, clearing out these spiderlings is so valuable that I'm really thinking that potentially Dark Elhain is the better route. Because if this lady can hit him for that, imagine what Dark Elhain with a good build would do to this boss. Like, think about it. I want you to seriously think about it. Because that's what I'm up against. Because Dark Elhain would also, like, how do I say this? Dark Elhain would define this account. That's the other thing. It would truly complete the Elhain story. That's another reason why I'm thinking of doing it. So we're getting into this bitter situation of who do I spend the resources on? Because I also don't have that many books. And I always have to consider, you know, that resource. Because right now, the biggest problem with Deacon is if I 6-star him now, he won't have the books to cycle his skills around enough to control the turn meter enough for most content. That's the real issue. So, because of that, but then there's Vizier. You're like, what's the significance of Vizier? Vizier is an anti-healer. He's Force Affinity. He hits multiple times. And he infinitely extends debuffs. So that is something that y'all need to know. Needs more. Maybe I'll try this. I'll try this setup. This ninja is built like a madman, I can already tell. But I got him anyway. Anyone even mildly reasonable? Anywhere? Oh, let's take that guy. Everyone else is just too OP. So OP. Alright. See, that question comes back to me. Who do I rank 6? And this is not an idle question. This really is not an idle question. I'll see y'all later.